All right, welcome everybody. I'm Mina, and today we're going to create lots of space through the side bodies, as well as work on some internal rotation, groin opening. It's pretty hot here. That's why I decided to film at home as opposed to in the studio. And I know I'm backlit and all, but I hope the beautiful blue of the sky and the green of the trees makes up for that. Um, we're gonna need the usual suspects, a blanket, a strap, and 2 blocks. And this class was requested by a student because it helped him target some of the Psoas tightnesses that he had. So I hope this helps you too. It's a full class of 16 minutes. Take things at your own pace and hopefully you enjoy. We're going to get started right away in Ardha Virasana, half hero. And we'll twist as well as lie back down, so make sure you're further forward on your mat. I'm going to send my legs forward, and I'll start with the right knee bend so you can see. I'm going to bend my knee. And then I'm going to open the calf out to the side as I bring the heel just to the outside of my buttocks. You might want to move the calf flesh out of the way even more so that you can feel your sits bones grounding down. For most of us, we're going to feel a little bit lopsided. The right sit bones want to come up. So if you like, you can sit up on just a little bit of something underneath the left sit bone or on both so that you feel a little bit more grounded. Good. And for the other leg, I'm going to bend the knee and come into external rotation. So a little bit more like butterfly pose. The sole of the foot is to the inside of the thigh. And start twisting here. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And as you exhale, twisting towards the left side, right hand can come to the outer thigh, left fingertips behind you. Good. And we're still warming up, feeling both sit bones on the floor. Every breath in, you can lengthen the spine. You can use your back hand as like an extra spine to make yourself nice and tall. And as you exhale, you can use your right hand to start to revolve the front of the chest from right to left. If you like to add your head, you can inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the head. And as you exhale, look over your left shoulder. Same time, the right sit bone wants to come up, so make sure you stay nice and grounded through both sides. Right pinky toe presses into the floor. Allowing the breath to move into the space between the ribs. Good, and then we'll slowly come back, inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to move back. So for some of us, just leaning back slightly is enough to feel much length through the front of the thigh. If you want and you're not sitting up on anything, you can also come up onto your forearms, or you can also lie all the way onto your back. I like to always send the sits bones towards the top of the mat. You can also lift your hips and really think about rounding the lower back, and that might create even more space through the front of the thigh. Just for those of you who want to create a little bit more awareness, you can also ground your left foot, press the foot into the floor, and that will encourage your internal rotation through the right thigh. And take a few more breaths in the arm variation of your choice here. Okay, one more breath. Sending the breath all the way into the front of the thigh, no matter what your shape looks like. Good, and then we'll slowly come back up. I'm going to ground my hands, press the elbows into the floor to lift up. And then you can come up higher. We're going to release the right leg, shake it out, and then we'll move on to the other side. Bending the left knee, and then bringing the heel just to the outside of your bum. Again, I'm going to take some time to move the calf flesh out of the way. Good. And again, if you feel like you're sitting lopsided, you can sit up on a blanket. Both sit bones, just one sit bone, depends. Okay. And I'm going to bend the right knee and then open the knee out to the side. Sole of the V to the inner thigh. Okay. Feeling both sit bones nice and heavy. We're going to twist. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And exhale, twisting towards the right side. A variation of Parighasana. And you can keep your chin sort of in line with your sternum to begin with. Sometimes when we add the head right away, it can get a little bit heated. So allowing the whole spine to slowly twist. Every breath in, creating more space to the side bodies. As you exhale, right shoulder comes on to the back. If you want to lift your head, inhale, lift the heart, lift the chin. And exhale, looking over your right shoulder. And flooding the shape with your breath, your prana. Good, and then we'll slowly come up, inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to lean back. I'm going to take the blanket out. If you want to set the pelvis, get this posterior tilt going, you can lift the hips. Think about pubic bone in towards the belly button, tailbone reaches towards the top of the mat. And then release down. Maybe you come onto your forearms. Maybe you start to lie down further. The left knee lifts slightly, it's okay. If it lifts up a lot, it's probably better for you to come back up. Make sure your knee is nice and happy. I'm going to set my right foot onto the floor. This helps me to internally rotate my left thigh a little bit more. Get the sense that both hip bones are on the floor. And if you want to hold on to opposite elbows or hold on to hook your thumbs, etc. If your arms are free, you can do that. Enjoying a little bit more space through the side bodies. As we create length and space in the body today, since it's quite warm right now, just an invitation to feel like those stretches or openings are releasing heat out of your body to cool yourself down. Good. We're going to slowly come back up. Again, pressing the elbows into the floor. You can also hold on to your mat. And then we'll come up. And for a moment, just shaking both legs. Good. Opening through the backs of the knees. And then we'll come into a tabletop position. If your knees are sensitive, you need a blanket underneath the knees, of course, go ahead. Otherwise, taking a moment to sit up here, we'll take it through a few cat and cow to warm up the spine. Inhale to lift the heart. As you exhale, round the back, looking towards the belly button. Good. Maybe one or two more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Last one here. Inhale, lift the heart. And as you exhale, tucking the toes under, lifting your hips up and back. A first down dog, you might want to pedal it out. Maybe shake your head. And if the backs of the knees feel tight, feel free to bend the knees slightly so you can really send your sits bones up and back. Otherwise, you can gaze down towards the floor a little bit to create more opening through the upper back. Okay. If you're ready, you can also lift up high onto the tippy toes to extend through the backs of the legs. And then send your weight more and more towards the heels, equally grounding through inner heel and outer heel. From there, we're going to wave the spine forward to plank. Inhale. And exhale, lowering in your own way, knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Good. Take a side cobra to get a little bit more of a passive stretch to the side body. Left hand stays where it is. Right hand can pull back a little bit so you can roll onto your left side. Good. My left leg is nice and long. If it's too much for the outer hips, you can also bend the knee. Otherwise, you can extend it. I like to bring my right foot in front of the thigh to have a little bit of support. The closer the left hand towards your hip, the more intense the opening through the side of the body. Maybe you want to walk your hand a little bit further forward. Good. And then, not a classic pose, you can allow your shoulder to come up towards the ears. And I really feel like my body is a hammock. And with every breath out, my ribs are melting towards the ground, creating space between the ribs, the serratus, lats, all these stabilizing muscles in the sides of the body. And also, the more you press the outer edge of your bottom foot, your left foot into the floor, the more you also feel it through the outer hip. As much as we created space to the side of the body, we're going to contract it now. Inhale, reaching the right arm out to the side. And as you exhale, you can press into the right foot, left hand, outer edge to curve up and over. Let's do it dynamically. Exhale to lower. Let's inhale here. Exhale, press and round. Last one. If this is too strong, you can also stay on your left knee. Exhale to round. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Good. Slowly come down. And come all the way back onto the belly. And then we'll switch side. Right hand stays underneath the shoulder. Left hand comes to the side. And we'll create space through the side of the body. Again, I like to place my left foot in front. If you want to wiggle a little bit here, you can. Right shoulder again. We're not pressing out here. We're allowing the shoulder to hang so that hopefully all these muscles in the side of the body and also through your organs, creating space, letting out heat. Good. Go into the dynamic side planks. Again, you can keep your knee bent for a modified variation, or you can extend the leg. Inhale, extending the arm out towards the back of the mat. Exhale, pressing into your points of contact to curve up and over like a rainbow. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press and curl. Good. Two more. Inhale for nice, resilient, long muscles. Good. And inhale. Exhale. Good. Slowly coming down, both hands underneath your shoulders, roll onto your belly. Good. And then we'll create some symmetry here in Shalabhasana. So interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale, rolling the shoulders up, back and down, squeezing the shoulder blades. I'm going to inhale here. Exhale, I'm going to press the toes into the floor, feeling that the inner thighs are starting to spread up towards the ceiling. Take another breath in here. Exhale, pubic bone presses into the floor without losing that internal rotation of the thighs. Next, inhale if you want to. You can lift your legs as well. Exhale, squeezing towards the center. Good. Inhale. If you want to reach the arms overhead, if you don't have any furniture cramping your style. And then exhale, ground your hands, downward facing dog. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, press the earth away so you can really use your foundation to lengthen the spine. And then we'll walk forward towards the top of the mat. As many steps as you need. You can bend the knees. You can keep the legs straight, shifting the weight into the hands as you transition forward. You're going to stay with feet hip width distance apart, so at least 2 fists between the feet. You can go even wider. I'm going to take blocks underneath the hands. They can be at any height. You want the spine and the legs to be nice and long. If you don't need any blocks to get to the space, it's also perfectly fine. Most of us need a little something underneath the palms. Good. From here, we're going to go into concave back. So that means we're really lengthening the spine. Nice and strong. These erector muscles next to the spine, creating space between each and every vertebrae, lifting up through the kneecaps. And then we're going to keep the weight in the heels. I'm going to send the blocks forward. I'm trying to reach the blocks to a friend that's in front of me. Can keep the head relaxed in between the arms. Every breath in, sending the blocks a little bit further forward like you're extending your spine. And as you exhale, I'm going to reaffirm my connection to the heels. Sits bones a little bit towards the backs of the knees. 2 more times. Inhale, sending the blocks forward. Making sure you can always come up onto the fingertips. Weight still in the feet so we're not in a down dog or plank. Good. And as you exhale, allowing the heart to melt. Last one. Inhale, sending the blocks even further forward. Legs getting stronger to do that. And as you exhale, keep the length in the spine. I'm going to walk the hands further downward. I'm going to let the head go. I'm going to breathe here for a few breaths. Uttanasana. Also, the back of the head wants to reach towards the earth and without rounding the spine. So it's a length and then curling down. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands onto the hips. Inhale, tailbone down as you come up. Exhale, Tadasana. Good. We're going to stay on our feet and find a little bit of balance. Let's keep the feet hip width distance apart to find your Tadasana, and then we'll interlace the right thumb on top. Inhale, opening the palms forward and up. I know you can't see the tops of my hands, I know, but I'm really spreading my fingers. And as I exhale, I'll allow the front of my ribs to soften a little bit. Good. Continuing to lift up through the kneecaps, pressing down through the four corners of the feet. Tailbone nice and heavy. And inhale here. Exhale, shifting the weight into my left foot so I can reach the right knee up towards the ceiling storks pose. Good. If you have a tendency to let the standing thigh drop forward, pull it back. Belly button in and up. Inhale here. Exhale, you can release the hands and hold on to the back of the thigh or the back of the shin to pull the thigh closer. Make sure you're not compromising in any way. You can broaden the elbows out to the side to lift the collarbones. Another breath in here. Exhale, left hand onto the hip so I can move the knee out to the side. Noticing if you have any tendencies to drop out of center. Keep on reaching the knee out. Right sit bone down, finding space through the inside of the thigh. Another breath in and out. Good. Inhale, bringing the knee back to center. Exhale, left hand to the outer thigh, right hand onto the hip for a moment. Starting to twist. I know we've been standing on one leg for a long time. Another way to warm up without doing any sun salutation. Right arm can reach back if you like. And if you want to crawl your gaze back towards the back of the mat, towards the fingertips, you can do that. Good. And then let's slowly come back to center. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, Tadasana, consciously grounding through both feet. Let's just take a half sun salutation in between. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, long spine to fold forward. You can always bring your hands onto blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, full belly button in, humbly releasing the head. Good. Inhale, press into the feet. Long spine, long legs coming up. And as you exhale, right away, hooking or interlacing the left thumb on top, opening the arms up towards the ceiling. Good. And then I have the tendency to arch the spine, so I'm going to hug the ribs in, make the tailbone heavy, so they can really open up through the armpits. Neck, throat, nice and soft. Another breath in. Exhale, shifting the weight consciously into the right foot, spreading the toes, lifting the knee up from the inner thigh. Good. Another breath in, sending the palms and knees up, tailbone down. Exhale, releasing the hands. You can always interlace behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Good. This is when we pull the thigh in. Quite often, the bottom leg gets go. So think about pulling from the inner, what's that? The inner sole of the right foot up the inner thigh in towards the belly button, up through the crown of the head. So there's this long line there. Good. We're going to open the knee out to the side, right hand onto the hip as you exhale. Good. Tailbone stays nice and heavy, creating space and opening through the front. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring the knee to center, right hand to the outer thigh. We're going to twist towards the left side this time. Good. Balance-wise, you can keep your head towards the center of your chest. Like we did at the beginning of the class, you want to use your head as well. You can lift the chest a little bit. And then exhale, crawl your gaze towards the back of the mat. One more breath in. And out. Inhale, stomp your right foot into the floor to reach the fingertips and left knee up. Exhale, Tadasana. Good. We're going to flow back down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding, hinging at the hips. Let the head go. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, you can ground your hands and move through your classic vinyasa if you want to. Maybe knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, little cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Good. We'll take one more standing sequence here before we sort of go to the main sequence. Inhale, lifting the right leg up. Exhale, stepping the right foot through. Gonna come up into a high lunge. Inhale, pull the right hip back, reaching the arms up. And then exhale just to arrive here. And take one more twist. Inhale. Exhale, let's pull the pubic bone in towards the belly button as we descend the knee down a little bit slower than you want to. Take another breath in for more growth. And then exhale, really wrapping the whole left side around, left elbow to the outer thigh. You can keep your back knee on the floor. If you really want to focus on the twist and movement of the spine. If you want to make it a little bit more strength, balance, heat, you can start to lift the back knee as well. Continue to spiral the crown of the head forward as you start to gaze up with your left eyeball. One more breath in. And out. Inhale. Let's come back to center, whether you're in a low lunge or a high lunge. And next here, we're going to release the hands onto blocks or the floor. Let's step the back foot in and a little bit towards the left side. So we're in a pyramid pose. Stands nice and grounded through the back leg. We're just going to wave the spine here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to wave, letting the head go. A few more times. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Just pumping the breath through the body at the same time. Legs nice and strong, reaching out through the base of the big toe ball mound. Encouraging the inner thighs to roll back. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Good, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, I'm going to ground my hands. Your vinyasa. If you like to move through a three-legged variation, you can do that too. And then we'll switch sides. Inhale, lifting the left leg. And then exhale, lightly stepping it through. High lunge, second side. Inhale, rise. And exhale, just to arrive and soften. Take another breath in here. Fingertips and back heel reaching in opposite directions. And then as you exhale, it's the tailbone that wants to come down. It's not so much pulling it down. Knee grounds, inhale, reaching up. Creating lots of space through the side body so you can wrap it around, twisting towards the other side. Hands pressing in towards one another. Good. And if you just hang out here, there's not much twisting happening. So really press the top hand into the bottom hand. The bottom hand resists the thigh, and that starts to lift your chest towards the left and up towards the ceiling. You can stay here. If you want to press the back heel away, lengthening through the back heel, corkscrewing the crown of the head towards the top of the mat. Good, inhale. Then exhale. Inhale, back up. Low lunge or high lunge, depending on how you did your twist. And then exhale, let's step the back foot in and out a little bit to be in a nice, steady pyramid pose shape. Again, blocks at any height to help you find more space. If you want to come up onto fingertips, that's perfectly fine to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding. You can always shake your head. Inhale, halfway lift, pulling the left hip back. Exhale to fold. Good. Don't forget your back leg. Really press it into the floor so the crown of the head can reach. And then exhale, belly button in, ribs in to fold. Last one. Inhale, pulling your shoulder blades back. And then exhale, pressing your hands forward to fold deeper. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your vinyasa, perhaps three-legged. That's what you choose to do. Inhale to open your heart. Exhale. Back to your dog. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. And then we'll sort of come to our main sequence. Inhale, lift the right leg. And exhale, step it through. Warrior two this time, grounding your back heel. Good. And then opening up the arms. Good. So we'll basically do the same-ish sequence. One's higher up from the floor and one's closer down. You're going to need a block just to the outside of the right foot, a little bit like you're going into a side angle pose. I'm going to bend the knee, Nice grounded warrior two. From there, I'm going to bring my right hand to the block. I think depth-wise, there's not much difference if you have the block height, whether you have your forearm or your block on the hand. And we'll play around with inhale, bending the knee really tracking over the toe. And as you exhale, moving towards extending the leg, towards triangle. You don't have to fully straighten, not a problem. Inhale, bending the knee. And exhale, moving towards straightening the leg. And so you're really active through both legs. If you're bending and you're just hanging here, make sure you still keep the same degree of awareness and activity as you had when you were moving towards straightening the leg. Good. Next time you're in triangle, we're going to stay there, making both side bodies nice and long. Let's reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale today, palm towards the top of the mat. Take another breath in here. Press into your bottom hand. And then exhale up and over, curving the side bodies, creating lots of space through the side. Head nice and relaxed. Good. Tailbone reaches towards the back heel. Nice long spine. Another breath in and out. Good. Let's press into the back foot to come up. Exhale, rebending the front knee. We're going to come into humble warrior, interlacing the fingers. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. And then exhale, we're going to pull the right hip back. And we're going to barely bring the right shoulder to the inside of the thigh. Quite often I see this, and then the knee tends to collapse. So really pull back, a little bit more like you're trying to go into warrior one. And then we're going to allow the spine to round. My left shoulder tends to come up, so I'm bringing you forward and down. Can really think about pressing into the earth, and almost like my forehead is trying to reach through my belly button up towards the ceiling. Good. Another deep breath in, and deep breath out. Good. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, left hand grounds underneath the shoulders, right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Open twist here. You can stay here or wiggle your right foot towards the center of the mat. Same side plank as we had before. Can always come onto your knee. Or if you have a different variation of side plank you want to explore, feet stacked, lifted in front of one another. Go ahead. And then still nice long side bodies. One more deep breath in. And out. Good. Plank, inhale. Your vinyasa. Two-legged, three-legged, four-legged, five-legged. Modified. Or if you want to skip, go ahead. Just wait in down dog for the others. Good. Inhale, lifting the left leg. Exhale, lightly stepping it through. Warrior two, grounding your back heel, windmilling the arms to arrive. Good. Let's bring the block again. The highest setting just to the outside of the foot. Of course, if you want to go lower, go ahead. But really pressing into the feet. The hip tends to move back, so pushing it forward. Knee tracking over the toe. Inhale to bend. Exhale, moving towards straightening. And then going back and forth at your own pace. You can bring your hand onto the hip. And if you're sort of in a forward fold, see if you can really make it a side bend. So stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders as much as possible. Next time your front leg is extended, staying in triangle, you can extend the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Legs hugging in towards one another. And today for the option to turn the palm up towards the top of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, palm reaches overhead. And you can even press into the bottom hand a little bit to really create the space in the side of the body. If you're hanging here, press the earth away. Inhale. And exhale, inhale, press into both feet, come up. Exhale, rebend the front knee, interlacing the fingers behind the back. This time the weird way around. Roll the shoulders back, inhale. And then exhale, pulling your left hip back, and then barely folding to the inside of the left knee. Then letting your head go. That's available for your balance. Hands moving forward and down. Forehead moving in and up through the belly button, up towards the ceiling. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right hand underneath your shoulder. We're going to move into an open twist here if you like to stay. You can start to wiggle your left foot more towards the center of the mat, outer edge of the heel. Again, any variation of side plank that you decide to go into. Vashisthasana, anything funky if you want. Otherwise, just spay through both sides. Have a tendency to collapse here. Press the hand into the earth. Send the right sit bone away. Inhale. Exhale, both hands down. Through your vinyasa if you choose to go through. Otherwise, downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Good. Super similar sequence, but on our knees or back knee. Inhale, lifting the right leg. Exhale, lightly stepping it through. We're going to ground the back knee. Inhale to rise. If you need a blanket underneath the back knee, go ahead. And then exhale just to sink in for a moment. I'm actually going to place a blanket there because we're going to stay on our knees quite a while. We're going to push back out for a moment so we can pivot on the left knee. I know I'm showing you my back first, but I think it's okay. I'd like to wiggle the heel in line with the back knee. And we're going to knead our block one more time. This time our stance is going to be a little bit wider. And the block not right next to the ankle, but probably in line with the mid-thigh. Left hand onto the hip. And then the same thing, like warrior two or side angle pose, but on our knee. And then exhale, moving towards straight knee leg. Instead of triangle, we have a variation of Parighasana, gate pose. Inhale, bend. Exhale, Parighasana. Good. A few times again at your own pace. I like to flex the foot, point the toes up, and this allows me to engage the leg. I'm not just letting it hang. I'm not letting my bum push back. I'm really pulling up and externally rotating, bending. And the next time you're in Parighasana, we're going to stay there. Keep on lifting the kneecaps, stacking the shoulders. Inhale, reaching the left fingertips up and over. And exhale, side bend. This is where you might choose to go down, lower onto the block. Good, but if you tend to hang, see if you can create space through the bottom side half as well. Good. And then breathe one more time into the whole of your lungs. And then we're going to come up. And shorten the stance so I can reset the foot. This time, right arm underneath the left arm in eagle arm variation. You can just hug yourself or you can double wrap. Inhale, lifting the elbows up. Exhale, I'm going to pull my right hip back again so my right shoulder comes barely to the inside of the knee. Okay. And as opposed to letting myself hang here, I'm pulling in. It's almost like the elbows are trying to pull in through my belly button. I'm going to round my spine and almost push our hips forward, creating space through the lower back. We'll need that for our side bends. Good. Inhale. Let's come up halfway. Exhale, left hand down. And then again, you can wiggle the foot out. You can stay in your side bend. Or this time, you can come into modified side plank. We're going to stay on the left knee. Right foot comes behind us. Like a mini wild thing, you can bring your right hand behind your skull. I like to wrap the elbow in, give the orientation to my shoulder blade, and then pushing the hips forward and opening the heart. Good. Not the biggest back bend on earth, but you can really feel the connection to the ground and really use the back of the head to open. Another breath in. And out. Good. Slowly coming back. Inhale. Exhale, maybe modified vinyasa. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, other side. Inhale, lifting the left leg. Exhale, lightly stepping it through. Rounding the back knee. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, just to arrive. Inhale, pull back so your weight is on your right knee. And then we're going to pivot to open the hip towards the right side, wiggling the left foot in and a little bit away. We're going to get the block just to the outside of the thigh. Right hand onto hip. And then inhale, bending the front knee. Probably feel lots of space through the inner thighs. And then extending. My stance was a little bit too short. Inhale to bend. And then exhale. Maybe you're not fully extending the leg. No problem. Maybe this is good. And if you're extending, you can really reach out through the heel. Reach out through the big toe bone mound. All the while, again, you're not in a forward fold. You're really in a side bend. Good. Next time your leg is extended, we're going to stay there. Inhale, reaching the right arm up. Exhale, palm against to the top of the mat. Another inhale here, pressing into the knee to reach the right fingertips up. Exhale, bending up and over. You can simply bend your elbow or start to climb down on your block so you have something solid to press into the floor. Good. I feel big differences between left and right in terms of the spaciousness across the front of the hip and the side of the body. Good. Another breath in, maybe stacking your shoulders a little bit more. Exhale, can always gaze in towards the palm of the hand. Inhale, let's come up. Exhale, shorten your stance. Rebend your knee. Left arm underneath the right arm this time. Eagle arms perhaps. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, gazing a little bit more towards the top of the mat, pulling the left hip back as you round. And again, forehead, elbows pulling in towards the belly button. At the same time, I'm not allowing my hips to move back. I'm pushing them forward, curling in so that the distance between the pubic bone and the elbows get a little bit closer. Maybe letting the head hang if that's available. And the feet, you can also press through the top of the right foot to give you a little bit more stability. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right hand grounds. Move all the props aside. Can be in an open twist if that's what you choose to do. Or you can start to transition into your right knee, kicking the left foot back. Inhale. Exhale, perhaps into a mini wild thing. Again, I'm going to give the arm variation that I like. Left hand to the back of the skull, elbows hugging in. And from there, I can press the head into my head to open across the whole front. One more deep breath in. And out. Good. Slowly gazing back towards the top of the mat. And we'll meet in a child's pose. If you want to move through your last full modified vinyasa, you can do that. Or maybe one breath in a dog to lengthen through the spine, create some symmetry. And then you can lower onto your knees wider, closer together, up to you. If you feel the floor is really far away, you can always stack your hands so that the weight really comes into the sits bones. You're letting the breath permeate the back body. Good. And then we'll take some seated postures where we work everything that we just did. I'm going to need a blanket. However you like to get the legs out in front of you. Going to start in Triyang Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana. And we'll need that internal rotation like the way we started our practice today. Inhale to bend the right knee. And then the right heel comes to the outside of the bum. Again, creating some space here. And if your knee doesn't allow, you can always sit up on a block as well, or sitting up on a blanket. For this one, I like to just sit on something on the right sit bone. So this sort of asymmetry allows my right sit bone to ground a little bit more. I'm going to inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, starting to hinge at the hips to come forward. Now, this is where you might need your strap or want your strap. Moving elbows out. And then starting to move in. course, if you don't need your strap, you don't need your strap. And as much as this is about, forward folds are about creating space in the back of the body, but these asymmetrical forward folds are also about how can I arrange my pelvic floor, my habitual tendencies, and how my lower back is held. How can I really ground through these very asymmetrical foundation of the right knee sort of bent around, awkward, and the left leg being extended all the way. And so really sending your awareness into the sacrum area and relearning how to sit. Good. Take another deep breath in. And breath out. Good. Inhale, coming up halfway. Then we're going to keep this orientation of the leg, but just move the shin sort of 90 degrees away from you. We don't want the shin to be on the blanket. If you want to sit up on something, you can sit on the sits bones, but the foot should be free on the floor. Maybe you need to sit up higher. Some of our knees, some of our hips just do not do this. Not a problem. In which case you can come into more of a Janu Shirshasana external rotation. You can follow us along from there. Good. I'm going to start with a twist here. Really feeling, again, grounding, sitting up. Inhale. You can press into the right pinky toes. And then exhale, we're going to twist towards the right side, towards the back of the mat. Really, again, similar to how we started our practice. Noticing if you're falling backwards, noticing if you're arching your spine, you're coming forward, feeling really that the weight is stacking on top of both sit bones. Inhale here. And then we're going to keep the twist in the spine, but release the arms, sending the right arm up and over into Parighasana. This time, full pose or closer to the earth. And as hard as it, we want to keep both sit bones more or less onto the ground. There might be some lift, it's okay, but it's heavy. If you want to help with the strap, you can lasso the left foot this time. And then the right arm reaches up and over, overhead. And you have the opportunity to pull on the strap. And again, think about stacking the shoulders all the while. Right sit bone continues to stay heavy. And then you can walk your hands down the strap. Left shoulder continues to come in. And then maybe holding on to the foot if that's available. Again, all these shapes in between. Transitions. Good. And then breathing into whatever it is that you're feeling. Letting out the heat. And then we'll slowly come up. Exhale, Dandasana, both legs out in front of you. With or without something to sit on, just noticing difference between left and right. And then let's go to the other side, bending the left knee. Exhale, heel to the outside. Can move the calf out of the way again. And again, it's probably different left to right. I'm going to again sit up on just a little bit of something on the right sit bone. So this asymmetry allows the left sit bone to get a little heavier. Good. Triyang Mukha first, inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, starting to fold forward. Again, the strap is your friend. You can sit up higher. And again, as much as you're probably feeling the length through the back of the leg, maybe also through the lower back. It's also about like reorganizing your organs, your lower back muscles, finding a symmetry in this asymmetry of the lower body. And when you can pull your elbows out to the side, it helps you to broaden, create space through the back as well. So it's not just about length or verticality, it's also about horizontality. Pressing the left pinky toe into the floor for grounding. Let's stay for one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Very different left and right for me. Inhale. As the exhale, let's open the left knee sort of 90 degrees. Again, my foot doesn't want to be on the blanket. That's not helpful. Heel again just to the outside, and now you can see from the back, my foot is still in a Virasana setting. It's possible this ankle is really hugging in to relieve the sickling of the foot. Right leg nice and extended. And we're going to start with a twist. Inhale. Exhale, twisting from the center towards the back of the mat, or towards the left side this time. Feeling the front body move from right to left. Feeling the back body move from left or right. Feel that revolving. We're going to keep the spine as it is, but move the arms. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, reaching up and over. Again, left sit bone stays relatively heavy. Right side of the body also wants to lengthen, so we don't want to get short. Lengthen the armpit forward towards the foot. Again, the strap can help you to create that space incrementally. Every breath in, it's almost like I'm pulling back on the elbow so that I can activate the side of the body. And as I exhale, grounding through the left sit bone, maybe starting to open up. You want to walk the hands towards the foot, you can do that. Right shoulder coming in. Good. Last breath. And then slowly coming up. Exhale, Dandasana. Good. And then let's move into Paschimottanasana with bent knees. You can bend the knees. Inhale. And then exhale. Just holding on to the backs of the thighs. This might be nice. Okay. Lots of funny sounds if you want to extend the heels forward or your butt backwards, and you can keep the connection to the thighs. You can do that. Eventually, if you want to release the hands. So finding just the right station for you today, creating some symmetry, symmetrical forward fold before we come onto our backs. Good, and I'll lift the heart, inhale. And then exhale, let's take a block with us to come all the way onto our backs. Round the feet, rolling down. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Releasing the feet underneath the knees. And let's just massage the spine for a moment. Inhale, lift the hips. And exhale, massage back down. Good, maybe a couple more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. And then I'm going to place a block underneath my sacrum. I'm going to go for the second height. Have the feet hip width distance apart or a little bit wider. I'm just enjoying a passive inversion here. If you're, after all the side bends and the twists, feel ready to go up into bridge pose or full wheel, this would be the moment to do so. But if you feel like me, it's super warm, and I just want to slowly cool my body back down. Another wonderful way of cooling is a passive inversion. Depending on the block, this block is pretty thick at this height, so I feel comfortable lifting my legs up. If your block feels more wobbly, you can also place 2 on top of one another in the lowest setting. Or you can also place your legs up the wall. Ooh. And then just feeling the blood return back towards the pelvis, towards the heart. slowly bending the knees, one foot at a time, back onto the floor. Pressing the feet into the floor so that the hips become lighter, sliding out the block, and just for a moment, not doing anything. Maybe knees in towards one another, feet apart. And for a moment of self-care, you can go into happy baby pose if that's what you like. Or I'm going to take an easy twist to invite the sensation of gravity a little bit more into my bones before I call it a day. Today my head doesn't really feel like dropping towards the left, so I'm going to keep it center. If your head says, hey, turn to the left, then of course follow those instincts. Slowly coming through center, twisting to the other side. The sound was okay. Sometimes when I'm on my mic, it makes crackling sounds. And then from here, Shavasana. Maybe a sigh or two. And then releasing into the openness. If you like to place a bolster underneath the knees or keep the knees bent or have a little blanket underneath your head, make it comfortable. So you can decompress for another few minutes. Now we've opened up the area of the armpits as well as the groins. Two areas of the body that are quite vulnerable. So if your body has the need to sigh or exhale a bit more sharply to let go of any tension. Otherwise, I'm going to stay quiet for a few moments. And if you like to stay a little longer here, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to slowly get ready to close this practice. Slowly bending the knees, one at a time. Bending the elbows to place the hands somewhere on your chest, your belly. Eventually rolling over onto one side and just hanging out there for one more moment. And slowly coming up. It's the last thing to stack. Take one more breath in to lift the chest up against the thumbs press into the heart. And as I exhale, I'm going to pull my chin in towards the chest. And I thank you for sharing this little practice today and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.